There's no question that the Chinese Communist Party poses a clear and present threat to both the security and democracy of the United States of America. As detailed in DHS 2025 Homeland Threat Assessment, the Chinese government possesses a wide array of dangers to our nation. These threats span across various sectors, including public safety, border, immigration, critical infrastructure, and economic security. Threats of this nature undermine the global competitiveness and national security, and in some cases imposes a significant financial burden on our economy. It is absolutely essential that the Department of Homeland Security takes decisive action to address these complex threats, both at home and abroad. This is why I have reintroduced H.R. 708, the Shield Against CCP Act. This legislation requires DHS to establish a dedicated working group focused on countering the threats posed by the CCP to our homeland security. Specifically, it requires them to examine, assess, and report on DHS' effort to address these threats. To ensure accountability, my bill also mandates that the DHS provide an annual report to Congress, allowing us to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of their efforts. As a member of Congress, it is our solemn duty to ensure the safety and well-being of our great nation. We cannot afford to ignore the increased aggression and influence of China on the global stage.
As Communist China seeks to gain influence in critical industries around the world, the United States must be at the forefront of combating and decoupling from the CCP. This includes battery technology. As we become more and more dependent on battery technology, we need to ensure that these batteries are sourced from non-adversarial countries. As it stands, Communist China produces approximately 80% of the world's batteries and roughly 70% of the world's lithium-ion batteries. This dependence puts U.S. supply chains at risk and threatens our national security. Our government should not be spending tax dollars to procure batteries from companies that profit from slave labor or provide another avenue for the CCP to expand their surveillance apparatus here in the United States. As an agency tasked with protecting the homeland, the Department of Homeland Security should not be procuring batteries from a geopolitical adversary. H.R. 1166, the Decoupling from Foreign Adversarial Battery Dependence Act, is a critical first step in addressing this issue. Modeled after previous provisions included in the FY 2024 NDAA, my legislation builds off these efforts and prohibits the Department of Homeland Security from procuring batteries from companies that have deep ties to the CCP and engage in human rights abuses. H.R. 1166 helps our nation take a step forward in advancing our efforts to decouple from the PRC and safeguard critical supply chains from exploitation.